My grandfather once told me that life is meaningless if you fail to realize that you have it. Of course, I was a kid when he told me this, and it really didn't make any sense to me then. I mean, time just seemed to just go slow. I couldn't wait to grow up, be an adult, and I told him that I don't know how many times, and he would say, "Don't wish your life away. One day you're going to grow up, you're going to be an adult, and you're going to wish you treasured all that time when you were a kid and you had no responsibilities and you had all of this freedom." Of course, I'm like, "But G-Pop, I'm in school. It's like a prison." It's like, what kind of freedom are you talking about? And he understood because he was the same way when he was a kid. He grew up on a farm. His mom and his dad wanted him to go to school and get an education. He didn't want to. He wanted to stay on the farm and help his dad. But they sent him anyway. And even in some of his books, he even mentions that he felt like school was a prison to him. But that saying just really sticks with me. And today's video, it's going to be a little emotional for me. This is some things I've gone through the last few years. But it really hammers home that, to me now, that life is short and time goes hand in hand with life, and it just is so short, and we need to do our best to make the most out of our lives, the life that we've been given. So 2.5 years ago, Dad started getting really sick, and he had gone into the hospital. He wasn't feeling well at all. He'd gone into the hospital emergency room, and he did some tests, and they found he had colon cancer, and it had spread to his lungs and his liver. And Dad was 80. He was 80 at the time. And he said, we can do chemo, we can do the radiation and all this. And he elected not to have that done. That he was 80 years old. He wasn't going to go through that. Now, at the same time, Mom had crippling arthritis. And for the last 25 years or so of her life, her quality of life was very minimal. And Dad had been her main caregiver through that whole time period. So she could not do anything for herself. Her hands were so bad she couldn't even hold a cup to give herself a drink of water. So Dad was doing all of that. And due to some other circumstances, I was able to move in to my parents and be their main caregiver, their only caregiver. So once Dad got back from the hospital, he was pretty much bedridden. They had given him 6 months. So I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, get myself ready for work, go out, take care of Mom and Dad, get them ready for the morning. And I did get a caregiver to come in twice a day. She would come in the morning and then again in the evening. So I'd get Mom and Dad ready. I would go to work, being at work at 5:30, work all day, get home at 3:30, take care of mom and dad, get my lunch ready for the next day, get myself something to eat, get myself a shower. If I had time, I would do a light workout or just go outside for 15-20 minutes and walk. I just needed a break. And this went on for, let's see, August, September, 2 months. Yeah, 2 months until Dad passed away. So they gave him 6 months and he made it 2 months. So once Dad passed away, I was the only person that Mom had left to take care of her. So I stayed at the house for another 9 months or so until Mom passed away. But during that time before Dad passed, it was a couple weeks before Dad passed, I took a walk behind the house. So they had 3 acres. It was kind of narrow and long. So it was quite a good walk back to the back of the property. And when we were kids, we helped Dad plant an orchard back in the back field. There were apple trees, peach trees, cherry trees, pear trees. I think there might have been a couple plum trees. And when I walked back there, back where the orchard was, it was overgrown. Most of the trees were just barely clinging to life. And Dad's favorite apple tree, we always picked the apples off of it. It was his favorite variety. I'm not sure what kind it was, but I just remember that was his favorite tree. And I walked up to it, and all the branches were dead except for a few. And on one of them was one lonely apple, and it was about, I don't know, the size of a golf ball, I would say. And it was shriveled up. And I'm standing there looking at this orchard and looking at this tree with its one lonely apple that was shriveling up. And just thought, how symbolic is this orchard that everything that was good and wholesome and everything that was so full of life when I was a kid is just withering away. And then I thought about Dad in his hospital bed inside, and how the same thing was happening to him. And then the same thing happened to Mom just 9 months later. And it just made me realize how short our life really is and how quickly time goes. It just seemed like yesterday that we were back in that field planting that orchard, riding our bicycles back there. Dad would come home from work, and we actually made our own baseball diamond in the back, and we would play baseball, football back there. And just how quickly time goes and how fleeting life actually is. And I know in the Bible, James even tells us that life is like a mist. It's here one minute and gone the next. And it's true. It's just so fleeting and it goes by so quickly. And I was watching Little House on the Prairie the other night. I know you can make fun of me, Little House on the Prairie, but it's one of my favorite shows. And we watched it all the time when we were growing up. And it's one of the shows that I can still watch over and over. And I just get a feeling of comfort. And I get more out of them now as an adult than when I did when I was a kid. But there's the episode where Albert befriended an older Jewish gentleman who was a woodworker. And he made caskets. Well, he wound up getting sick, and he was laying in bed before he passed. And he was talking with Albert, and Albert didn't want him to go. And he looked at Albert and he said something to the effect of, my life was not the time before I was born. That was someone else's time. And my time won't be after I'm gone. That will be your time and someone else's time. That he had lived a good life during his time that he was here on earth, and he had made peace with that. Now, think what you might of Little House on the Prairie, but there's so many good lessons in that show that I never really picked up on when I was a kid, and probably most kids didn't. But the purpose of this video is just to point out how short life really is and how quickly time just goes by. And maybe it's because now both of my parents are gone, and I feel like that part of my life is no longer tethered to this world. But that's just missing. It's gone. They still live on in my heart and my memories, but it's just totally different. It's just such a strange feeling. And I know most of our lives are so busy, and this world seems to be so chaotic. I think we need to reflect on past hurts and grudges and things that we've done to others and things others have done to us, that it's time to let those grudges go, and it's time to give forgiveness, even if that is to yourself, because tomorrow is not promised to any of us. And carrying all of that weight of not forgiving someone, carrying a grudge, anger towards someone, I think we just need to let all of that go. I don't know how many of you saw my previous video about, I think it was titled Our Angel is Real, and what happened to me and how close I was to leaving this earth. And I was almost 30 at the time, And even through that experience, it did give me a better perspective on life, and it should be treasured. And all of those grudges and hard feelings for others, you just need to let that go. But it wasn't until I lost both of my parents that I really started to think about how short life is, that we need to make the most out of the life we've been given. And holding on to all of that stuff just keeps us from that. Even at work, and I know most of us probably don't enjoy what we do or just tolerate what we do at work. And that's where most of the people are the most grumpy, the most angry. But I see it as it's part of your daily life. So why not make the best of it? Why not uplift your fellow coworkers? And why not try to make their day a little better, a little brighter? And I know that sounds idealistic, but that's who I am. That's my personality. But that's the way I try to approach life. If you're holding on to grudges and you need to forgive somebody or you need to forgive yourself, you just need to pray on it and just do it. Because tomorrow, you might not have the opportunity to do that. So I hope you can go out there and live your life. Make the most out of it. Help others. And by that way, you'll be helping yourself. And just go enjoy life. God gave us all that precious gift. And it's the only one we have here on this world. So go make the most out of the life that you've been given.